Our viewers, my name is Lucien Jeffrey. I'm the host of this TV show. The Entrepreneur TV has been running since 2019. We are very happy to serve the business community in London. Today, we are opening the year with great professionals that we serve here at the Entrepreneur Nation. But I would like to let you know that this show is sponsored by the Entrepreneur Nation, and the Entrepreneur Nation is a business development group here in London that we started in 2018, and we've really done great to serve the business community. So with that said, I'll bring my guests here for you to see them. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Hey, great.
Good
How are you?
morning. Hello.
Great. Our viewers, we have Vikas Sharma. He's a real estate lawyer and a member of the Entrepreneur Nation. We have Colin Dambrauskas. Colin would have to keep helping me to pronounce his name. He's a mortgage agent and a member of the Entrepreneur Nation. And Jawad El-Minawi, also a member of the Entrepreneur Nation. Vikas is a real estate lawyer. Colin is a mortgage agent. And Jawad is a real estate sales representative. What a wonderful way to have you so you can speak to us about what's happening in the real estate market. It has been hot and hot and hot, and things keep changing. So we want to hear from the professionals. So without wasting your time, I would like you to give us a snapshot of what's happening in the industry right now in the real estate market. What's going on, Jawad? I think I'll start with you as a real estate sales representative. What's going on in the market right now?
Things are absolutely great. No, in all honesty, things they've definitely shifted, and they shifted quite a lot quicker than people anticipated it would. We're heading back into more or less a normal tempo, a normal rate, into what the real estate market should be. Quite frankly, it never should have been what it was over the past 2 years over COVID. And I think it's going to be an adjustment period for a lot of people. It's going to be an adjustment period for buyers and new interest rates. It's going to be an adjustment for a lot of agents, and it's going to be an adjustment for sellers and price expectations. And I guess as the professional gentlemen after me are going to comment, it's going to be an adjustment for current homeowners and how are they going to sustain everything.
Wonderful. And Colin, give us a quick snapshot of what's happening in the mortgage industry.
Well, everybody's quite aware the interest rates. We were absolutely spoiled for about two years or so, with rates as low as 2%, some under 2%. That's since almost pretty much tripled in a short period of time. So there's been a lot of talk about rates, a lot of sticker shock for some individuals who are sitting with 2% rate now having to renew or look at new options at 5%. So we are working our best to, as Jawad said, set expectations and really help clients organize their finances.
Wonderful. Thank you. A quick snapshot, Vikas, as real estate lawyer, what's going on in the industry? What do you see?
So there's a new prohibition on the purchasers, foreign buyers. So that has come into play. So I don't see the effect of that on the market just yet, but I feel that it will start happening. But what I am seeing, like Jawad and Colin both said, that we are from the legal and the deals side, we see more drawn out deals, so they're not as quick in terms of 2 weeks to close. And then we're also getting a lot of deals where there are conditions in them now as well. So the lawyers are getting time to review the conditions to make sure the clients are getting what they agreed to get, because they have the time to be able to do that now. And then finally, working with the banks, we're getting our instructions on time, and the funding is happening on the day as well, because they just don't have that flurry of volume coming into them as well. So the pace has slowed down, but like Jawad said, I think it was a bit of an anomaly of what was going on over COVID. And I think we're getting back to the years before COVID of the pace of transactions that are going to happen.
Wonderful. Our viewers, we are so happy to hear from the professionals here that we actually trust here at the Entrepreneur Nation. We listen to them every month, and I'm happy viewers can now hear from them. So I didn't want us, because everybody is talking about interest rate. You cannot talk about real estate without talking about interest rates, right? They are going up, they are going down. and we are wondering when will they ever stop. So I would like to invite Colin now, over 8 years experience in the mortgage industry, a very much focused full-time mortgage agent, to tell us what's going on. And while you are there, Colin, I hear that really some interest rates are going up, some interest rates are going down. I hear variable rates might be the ones going up, fixed rates might be the ones going down. Please clarify to our viewers what's going on in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, and of course it is top of mind for anybody with existing mortgage or looking at new options down the road. The fact of the matter is what everybody hears and all the news is based off of the Bank of Canada, and where the Bank of Canada makes decisions is towards prime. Prime rates is what affects variable rates or lines of credits or similar. So anything that's respective to the overnight lending rate from the Bank of Canada. So fixed rates, unfortunately, there hasn't been a lot of discussion that, in fact, fixed rates have come down quite a bit. There's about a full percent or a full percent and a half difference or swing between a fixed rate and a variable rate now. So variable rates is what we've actually seen increase drastically over the last year, almost short of a year. We've gone up from an average of, we were getting variable interest rates at 1.45 at one point, and now the average variable rate is much closer to 5.5. So it has affected a lot of individuals, especially those who have adjustable rate mortgages. And we are constantly dealing with clients on ways to improve their cash flow, ways to improve their finances, strategic ways to deal with these increases. The light at the end of the tunnel, if you will, is that despite the fact that we've seen a ton of increases over the last year, the Bank of Canada has basically said that, they've aggressively increased rates to the point where they think that they should be okay for a little while. We're expecting that perhaps for the rest of the year, at the very least, 6 months to maybe the full year, that we may not see any further increases. It's not the best news, that rates are not going to necessarily come down on the variable side anytime soon, potentially. However, they're not going to get any worse. So sit down with your mortgage professional, your mortgage agent, whoever you work with, talk about your existing situation. Can you withhold the existing rate right now? Can you kind of wait it out? Is there options for you in that respect? Otherwise, fixed rates are still coming down. We've got fixed rates in the 4.5, sometimes 4.25 range. So there are some options there to lock into some fixed rates if that's something that you are interested in. However, please reach out to your mortgage professional before locking in from a variable to a fixed, because there may be some additional options for you that you're not considering.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Colin. We really appreciate that. And, Canada, actually, we are lucky because there are some countries where rates are over 10%, 13%, and the time to pay is shorter than what we allow in here. So thank you for clarifying that. Now, the other question that I have, so our viewers can get to understand a little bit more, with the rates going up and all the things that are happening, how do we see the market behaving, the real estate market behaving? How is going to be the spring market, Jawad? Is the spring market going to be the same spring market that we know?
It's a great question, and I wish I had the answer. I think everyone's expecting the spring market to be busy, which is not wrong. I think the other section to it, people are expecting once the spring market hits, we're going to see an upward trends in price, which is what I would caution against. Is it going to be busy? Yes, I do think it's going to be a busy market with everybody just getting back into the groove of things. We have a good section of buyers who have been sidelined for a while, and they're sensing an opportunity to get back into the market. And obviously, you still have your move-up sellers, and you got to understand people are always going to be in a position where they want to buy and sell real estate. But the bigger caution is it going to be a spring market where prices are going to get back up through the roof and shoot back up again? I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. I think it's going to be a busy market, but it's going to stabilize as we go on throughout the year.
Wonderful. Thank you for letting us know of that, Jawad. So here is what I want to ask Vikas. Because I see that the government, as you have said, is stopping foreigners from buying real estate for the next 2 years. Do you think this is going to solve the problem? And by the way, what are the penalties if somebody decides to help somebody?
So there definitely are penalties that the government has put in place for if somebody's trying to aid and abet a foreign buyer from purchasing. So people might think that, why don't we incorporate, make a corporation and have the foreign individual be on the as a shareholder of that corporation, but they have really restricted that. As well, to say there's only a certain percentage. So one of the numbers that pops up is 3% ownership in that corporation. So they really have restricted that down. The government has made certain exceptions that where individuals can purchase property. For example, that can be refugees or non-Canadian individuals who purchased residential real estate with a spouse or common law, as long as their spouse or common law partner is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident. Um, and then they further go down into more detailed exceptions as well. I'll point out one of them, that is if they're in a certain census area where the population is quite low, they will allow a purchase to happen in that location. So they have made certain exceptions. I don't foresee the ban assisting that much, especially in a city like London. But even in Ontario, I think the ban is only there for 2 years. So once the time comes back up again, I think that issue will still remain. And the primary, I think, issue that we saw, as I think Jawad and Colin would agree, is the supply has been quite low in Canada for housing, and that's still the case. So there's still people that are very much on rental, renting out basements or townhouses or apartment units or condos. So that issue, I think, is still going to remain until the supply of new builds can go up or new homes can go up to accommodate the amount of people that we're bringing into the country and the amount of growth that we're having in the country as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Vikas. And I did think this is a very hot topic that we should take a little bit more time and dwell on that. So I'm of the belief that I think this population and all the overcrowding is in the cities. Canada is known to be the third largest country geographically in the world. We have a lot of piece of land. So I think if we agree to move out of the cities and move and get land everywhere else, I think things will be okay. So, Colin, what do you think about this, where foreigners have been stopped from purchasing? Do you think it will solve any problem?
Immediately, yes. So it will solve a problem where you actually have individuals who are buying property for investment purposes only, right? So the issue is that, especially you look at the GTA, specifically Toronto downtown, you look at Vancouver, Montreal, the big municipalities, they had vacancy rates of, you'd have a new high rise that would go up with about 200 units, and something like 40 to 50% of them were vacant. So these are individuals who are purchasing properties and never moving in. And you have individuals who are trying in their own respective home towns and cities. I don't know why I almost said villages, not villages, but their own respective cities, not having a place to buy because they're just being purchased from across the seas as an investment opportunity for the long haul. And to kind of touch on the previous point as well about how interest rates are going to affect and where the market's going. The crazy thing right now is that we see it every day right now, the conversations we have with our clients. Individuals are scared to get in the market because rates are really high. And if you look at it from a pure raw data standpoint, when rates were really low at, say, 2% on average, the average house price was really high because there's a lot of interest. Right now, the interests are a lot higher, but the average prices dropped down significantly. So from a cash flow overhead carrying cost perspective, houses are actually cheaper now with a much higher rate than they were this time last year. So it's something to consider for individuals looking to buy for the first time. Don't let the rate scare you. Have somebody run the numbers and actually show you what the carrying cost would be. You'd be surprised that it actually is more affordable now.
Excellent. I didn't get that point where you're saying that people are buying and not occupying. That's not a good idea. It's like paying for a bus ticket and saying, you know what, I'm not going to jump in the bus and nobody should sit on my chair, right? That will not happen. So I'm happy that the government is taking some action. So that makes sense. Do you have something very quickly to say about that?
I think the gentlemen before me have touched upon the important things.
Awesome, great. So then we'll look at it in the next 2 years and see. And I'm happy to hear from Vikas that there are penalties. People should not bend the law. There are penalties, so they should be talking to lawyers before they do anything. Now, of course, the next question that we have is there's this talk, and I think it might go to Jawad, this question that the government is building, I think, 1 million homes in preparation of the population. That is in Ontario, the population going up by 3 million. So 1 million homes for 3 million people. Is that going to solve a problem, Jawad?
I think the purpose of the study. So they conducted a study last year, which was the Housing Task Force, and they have analyzed and came up with the result that Ontario needs 1.5 million homes over the next decade to help solve the housing shortage that we're facing, and that's been going on in the news for a few months. The biggest obstacle, and we were at a talk by Minister McNaughty the other day. The biggest obstacle is finding enough manpower to actually go through with that. It's an ambitious goal. It just, the question gets to be, is it going to be something that's going to happen over the next decade or not?
Wonderful. That's great to know, so that they conducted a research. So it's research based and that it will make sense. So we'll definitely wait and see. So you know what? The reason why I called you here today, it's because I saw Colin posting on LinkedIn, and we saw people talking on LinkedIn there and social media about people illegally buying houses and selling houses that do not belong to them. And I think these are the vacant houses that Colin has talked about. So someone is in China, they have a condo in Toronto, and someone sells that condo for $900, and it is transferred, and the person did not know, and everybody involved did not know. So Colin, let me bring you forward to tell us what's going on there and how can that be avoided, and we'll give everyone a chance to talk about it if you have something to contribute.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. It's a recent media focal point only because it was, it was a big enough story to catch the Toronto news, and then it kind of trickles down. Fraudulent title transfers or fraudulent sales is nothing new. It's just we've seen a little bit more in the most recent years because a lot of our industry has shifted digitally. So where there used to be a lot of face-to-face due diligence happening, there's been a lot more allowance for digital signage and digital appointments. So I don't want to say that things are being missed more because of this. It's just it allowed for perhaps a little bit more room for error, if you will. So what we actually advise clients is those who own properties and don't have mortgages, not having, first of all, title insurance on your home is very, very important. But the other piece as well is if your home is owned free and clear, meaning there's no mortgage, there's no secured line of credit, there's nothing registered against that property, it makes it that much easier for somebody to actually try and fraudulently make changes to that title. And the reason for that is, let's say you have a mortgage or a line of credit, a home equity line of credit tied to your property. When somebody's asking to transfer that ownership or take over ownership, the creditor on file is notified. There's a request for a discharge sent out to that individual, and that lender or that banker or whomever needs to be notified. So when they get notification, they do their due diligence, and they may generally catch the fact that, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't line up, this doesn't make any sense, and then it kind of stops dead in the tracks there. So we generally ask that the clients, especially for clients with elderly, perhaps elderly parents or grandparents who are sitting on a property with no mortgage, make sure to talk to them about it. Reach out to your nearest bank or whoever you're comfortable speaking with. Make sure that you have protection against your home in the way of the title insurance. And if you don't, you could always set up a home equity line of credit as well that is registered against the property. Little to no cost to you to have that, but it is just an extra layer of protection.
Wonderful. Thank you for letting us know of that. And so, Jawad, real estate agents, I don't know if there was a real estate agent involved there or not. What do you think is their responsibility in this case to check to make sure that they are selling or helping someone to buy the right property?
Yeah, great question. And I think the biggest thing when the news came out was how could have the real estate agent missed it? You've got to understand it goes through three different professionals as we speak. So it starts off with the real estate agent, then it goes on to the mortgage agent if it's required, then it ends up at the lawyer. So our job as real estate representatives, when we have someone reach out that, who they want to sell their home, the first thing that we're doing, and we have a form that we're supposed to submit, it's FinTrack, which is personal identification form, is verify identity. So if someone shows up with their driver's license, be it fraudulent or not, and we're verifying that this is the picture, this is the individual, we then go on to pull public records to double check that the name on the ID matches the name on record matches the individual. Then we proceed. It's just a matter of, it's a vacant property. Someone talks to us about the property. We go ahead and take a look at it, and then it goes up for sale. I think the different measures that our side of things is now incorporating and putting into place is different apps and different technology that can somehow figure out whether the ID being used is fraudulent or not. But you also have to understand that these guys do this for a living. That's what they do. That's how they build their business. But as long as you verify identity and you make sure that the individual you're talking to is the individual giving you the proper ID, it's safe to move ahead.
I can definitely understand that. But Vikas, let me ask you, I can't fathom that because I thought Canada is a country with the toughest laws. We are careful about what we are doing. How did the real estate law transfer that?
So, like Jawad said and Colin said, there definitely are certain protections in place that if you, like Colin said, yes, you do have a mortgage, a lawyer will request a discharge. And usually, if there is some fraud being committed, something will get picked up to say, hang on a second, there's this mortgage, this person, has been paying everything on time, hasn't requested this. Some agent might catch something there. Now, there is, the Law Society makes us verify ID so that we would, even if it's a virtual signing, we will look at the individual, see their identification, verify that it's them, match it with it. For myself, you'll record the interaction as well to make sure that, yes, it's the right person that is selling or purchasing the property. So it may be, with these virtual tools or virtual signings, these kind of things I think have started happening more, or it's being brought more to light, especially because of the flurry of transactions that were taking place. Now the Law Society has brought in certain rules and certain suggestions of programs and apps to use that will verify a person's or individual's identity to make sure, yes, their credit history is linked and their transaction history is linked, to make sure that, yes, the person that you are meeting with and signing with is the same person. They are the ones allowed to sell the property. And a third party might even call them to say, hey, please answer a few of these questions that we have for you. For example, what was your last transaction on this date that you did, here? So those types of, phone calls a third party will do on behalf of a lawyer or go through that process. Now, title insurance companies are doing that. I always suggest to all of my clients to get title insurance so that something like this doesn't happen. There's obviously other protections that they provide, but they will, if the title insurance company feels that, hey, this might be a fraudulent transaction, they will then also contact the purchaser and say, hey, what's going on here? Are you the same person that was supposed to be buying this property or selling this property? Just to make sure that all of the parties are who they say they are. It's very unfortunate that it happened to these individuals, that were on vacation, and when they come back, the property isn't there anymore. It's been sold from under them. But these types of checks and balances, I think, need to be brought more into general knowledge for the public as well, to say, hey, this is the normal process of closing a deal, so that it's not a quick flurry to say that, yep, everything is done and signed. They understand that there will be a phone call from somebody. This is the general process of ID verification, and any lawyer is supposed to have ID verification in their file as well, to say, yep, I got their driver's license, their passport, or whatever other form of ID that they used, and it's saved in their file to make sure that, yep, I verified that it was them that I met with.
Wonderful. Thank you. I don't know if there's anything that can be done, like being able to, instead of just looking at the driver's license and saying this is it, maybe pulling some information from the Ministry of Transportation to, because like the way Colin pulls the credit history from the credit bureau to confirm the record, maybe there's something like that that can be done so that lawyers are able to pull the driver's information. Because as you said, if somebody comes with a fake driver's license, you don't know how a fake one looks like. So thank you for clarifying that. So as we conclude this show, and I thank you so much for your time. I know you are all very busy, especially with the rates having gone up. I know you are talking to your clients all the time. Thank you for your time. I wanted to ask you quickly to share with us some testimony about your relationship with the Entrepreneur Nation and their members and your experience. How have you found it? We see that Colin has just renewed his membership. You are in your second year. The others are almost finishing their first year. Please tell us, how do you give us some testimonial? Let me start with Jawad so we don't look like we have forgotten you. Let me start with Jawad.
It's okay. I always love it when Colin goes first. No, things have been really wonderful. I've had the chance to meet some really amazing, not just professionals, but amazing people as well. Yeah, it's been nothing but great. I've had the privilege of collaborating with a few members, and the privilege of serving a few members. So it's been nothing but a pleasant experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And Vikas?
Yes, it's like Jawad said, it's been a great experience. I've had the opportunity to work with both Jawad and Colin here, on the call with me, and it's always been a pleasure working with them. Because everybody brings the same standards of working on these together, on any file together. And also, it's not just, for me, it's not just a referral organization. We also get a lot of business advice as well. I've learned a lot of business tricks from Jawad, the way he follows up with his clients, and he makes time to give them a call and speak with them. Same with Colin, the way that he deals with his clients, and many of the other members as well throughout the group. So it's not just a referral place for me; it's also learning experience as well from a lot of seasoned individuals.
Thank you so much. And Colin?
Exactly that. For me, the networking group, it's more than just necessarily the individual relationships. For me, it's learning. I've learned a ton from speaking with individual professionals, and for me, it's extra value for my clients. When my clients have questions that I don't know the answer to, I have a slew of professionals I can refer them to, and it doesn't just help me remain that professional in my respective space. It allows me to set my clients up with the right person to help them with their respective situations.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We've also enjoyed having you. There's one member of the Entrepreneur Nation saying even if they went back to the university for 2 years, they will not learn as much as they learn here. So we learn from you because you are the professionals. You went to school, you went to college to learn things, and you're educating us a lot. And definitely it's more than university for me. Thank you, and we appreciate you. If something comes up, we'll be happy to have you back to talk about real estate market. Thank you so much.